All right, let's get started. Let's go ahead and start with this piece first. I'm going to go ahead and isolate it. Then I'm going to throw a edit poly on here. And let's get rid of this face generated by the shell because we don't want that. So when we go symmetry, we don't want a face right there in the middle. Another thing we need to do is make sure all these are on 0. So that one's on 0. This one's slightly off. And the reason why those are slightly off is when you use the shell modifier, it slightly skews, kind of created like kind of a little bit of angle. So we got that fixed. Another thing we're going to want to do is let's go out of local mode, go to world, and let's just make this flat on top. So I'm just snapping, pulling up in Z and snapping to the corresponding vert. There we go. And then let's just double check that our pivot is on 0. It should be. So now we should be good to throw symmetry on here. Like that. Okay. And let's go ahead and throw another edit poly on here. And we'll get this ready to be subdivided. So we can just, let's turn snap off. Let's start with these right here. So we'll deselect the end caps. And I'm going to change this number to 180 just so I know that I'm only assigning a smooth group to my selection. So I'll go ahead and go auto smooth on that. Then I'll do another ring selection this way, deselect the end caps, auto smooth, and then select the end caps and auto smooth. So we're left with something like that. Okay. That's kind of a weird pinch right there. Go ahead and isolate this real quick and just see. Yeah, we could probably move that. I might do that. So let's go to the top. Something like that. Make sure you're working out a world, because we were working out a local before. Might start creating some strange results when you try to move those. That's going to work. Okay, so now we've got our smooth groups in place, so we can throw a quad chamfer on here. Set it to quad intersection, smooth groups, and then we just need to find a value that works for us. So something like, I think we used 0.15 on the other pieces, so we'll use that. And we'll go ahead and just copy that so we don't have to modify it each time we do a piece. So we'll go ahead and isolate that guy. We can even also throw a turbo smooth on it. Just get it ready. Okay. And let's move on to this next piece. Okay, we'll throw an edit poly on here. I might speed up the video because a lot of this is just repetitive. So I'll do a few pieces and then I'll speed up the video. So we'll delete this interface. And then make sure these are centered on 0. Okay, and our pivot should still be on 0. Alright, and let's go ahead and throw a symmetry on this. On Z, we'll leave our threshold at 0.1. If we had verts that were a little closer, we might want to decrease that value. That should be fine. Then we'll throw edit poly and do our smooth groups again. So I'll set this to 180, auto smooth, come in here, deselect the end caps, do an auto smooth, and then select the end caps. And now we should be able to just paste our quad chamfer back on and have those settings. Throw a turbo smooth on here, 2. And we're good to go. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this piece. So I'll do this piece and then I'll speed the video up. Looks like this one, our pivot point was not at 0, so we'll hit Effect Pivot Only and make sure it's set at 0. And then we'll do another symmetry. There we go. Throw an edit poly on here. And we'll assign our smooth groups. We could have also connected these and made them one piece. So that's another option. That's just going to make more work, so we'll just leave them the way they are. Make a ring selection here, deselecting in caps, auto smooth. And I forgot to switch this to 180. And you can see it actually created 2 different smooth groups. So let's go ahead and change that to 180 and do it again. Let's clear that. And now it made one smooth group for that. Okay. Throw a turbo smooth on here. Make sure it's... So at this part in the video, my audio my mic decided to stop working. So I'm just going to do a narrative here for this. For a small section, it picks back up about halfway through the film here. So we just completed that top piece. And I'm not sure what I'm saying. Probably some funny joke, because I'm full of funny jokes. Okay. Alright, so we'll continue with this next piece here. Just go ahead and isolate it. And throwing an edit poly on the top of our stack so we can make some adjustments. Removing that face so that we can prepare it to be mirrored over. And then I'm just double checking that those are all on the 0 x axis. And then we're just adjusting our pivot so it's on 0x. And applying a symmetry modifier. Now we're just going through and setting up our smooth groups. Just adjusting these vertex here so in the scale mode, just to kind of keep it uniform on both sides, just to give us some cleaner topology in that area. Pasting the quad chamfer and turbo smooth back on the top of the stack. For the most part, this is just basically the same thing over and over, pretty repetitive. So we're deleting that face, making sure these are all on 0x. And then we're going to adjust our pivot point to be on 0x. And you can see in the middle there how it's kind of pushing down. So now I'm moving it up. I'm just snapping to the adjacent vert. So I got a nice flat area there on top. More smooth groups. So we're just applying the quad chamfer on there and turbo smooth on top. And that piece is completed. And that's leaving us with one other band. So again, delete that face where our symmetry is going to be applied. Setting these vertex to 0 on the x-axis. Center our pivot on X. having that pinching problem on the top, so I'm going to throw an edit poly on the top of the stack and just pull that vert up and snap it to the adjacent vert. Some more smooth groups, preparing it for the quad chamfer modifier. Alright, so we got the wraps on the top here completed, so now we just need to go through and mirror these ones over as well. So go ahead and start with this piece first. Go ahead and isolate it. And we'll just need to go through here now and adjust the smooth groups. So I've got my smooth group set to 180. Let's go ahead and auto smooth this. Go this way and auto smooth. Make sure we deselect our end caps. Oops, looks like I bumped that a little bit. And we should be good to go on that regard. So now let's go ahead and paste our quad chamfer on top of here and throw a turbo smooth on. Okay, set that to 2. And we'll go to our pivot, make sure it's set on 0, which it is, and then we'll mirror this over. So we have that piece now completed. Let's go into isolation mode, move on to the next piece. And we don't need to worry about these pieces connecting. They're just going to be kind of floating in there. So let's go ahead and go throw an edit poly on the stack here. And this geometry is a little wonky, but we'll just go with it. Alright, set our smooth angle to 180. Deselect the end caps, auto smooth. Okay. Paste our quad chamfer on here and throw a turbo smooth on. Okay. Isolate this guy. I'm going to throw an edit poly on here. And let's make sure our smoothing angle is at 180. Select that. Deselect the end caps. Auto smooth. And for the most part, this is pretty repetitive. Okay. Paste this on. Turbo smooth. Set it to 2. Okay. 2 more pieces. I'd have to say this is probably my least fun piece to work on. It was just kind of really pushing my boundaries of modeling. Okay, so we'll auto smooth that. Go around here. Auto smooth this. And nope, we selected that. We're good. Let's make sure we're at the top of our stack before we apply the. That's really interesting. There's no quad chamfer being applied. Let's see what's going on here. Let's go ahead and go into element mode. I'm going to clear all the smooth groups, go back into polygon, and then reselect these. There we go. Okay. Make sure we're at the top of our stack. That might have been what was going on before. Paste that on. There we go. Alright, one last piece here. Let's go ahead and isolate it. Throw an edit poly. Make sure this is set to 180. Turbo smooth of 2. Alright, so we've got those pieces. Let's go ahead and just turn these on just to kind of see how this all looks. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. I think it's believable enough. And I think we'll be rendering it from about, I think we're going to be rendering from this side, so what's on this side isn't too important. We still got these guys we need to address, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and isolate this. And let's throw a edit poly on here. And let's see here, let's go into wireframe, and I'm going to go ahead and select all these edges through here and the same ones in here. I'm just setting this up so I can make a selection and kind of do these all very quickly. So I'll go ahead and turn that edge selection into a ring selection, and then I'll control left click polygons, and that turns it into a selection that we can build our smooth groups from. So I'll set this to 180. You don't really have to always do this, but it just kind of, it basically makes it so that you're forcing one smooth group to those selections. So I'll go ahead and say auto smooth, and we don't have to worry about that. And actually what I'll do next is, with this selection still applied, I'll go to invert and auto smooth, and there we got all of our smooth groups set up. So now we can just paste on our quad chamfer, make sure that we're at the top of our stack when we do that. I don't believe it really matters, but it's always good to go to select the modifier at the root level and then apply the modifier on top. Okay, then we go to turbo smooth, set these to 2, and we have those pieces finished. Okay, let's go ahead and just turn this one on too, so we can kind of get a visual of how this now looks. Turn F4 off. So we have our Katana up here. Doesn't look too bad. Getting pretty close to finishing the modeling section, and then we have to do some unwrapping. So let's see, we have this piece over here that we have to deal with. You know what? And one thing we did forget too is mirror these guys over. Got so caught up in yeah, so let's go ahead and do that real quick. Should be fairly straightforward. So let's just go ahead and we can leave our smooth groups on here, and let's just go center this on X and then click mirror up here, say okay to that, and I'm gonna mirror this guy over, but I think we're gonna work with this piece, so we'll just mirror it over, and then we'll have to make some changes to it. Let's make sure we're on 0. We're good there. Mirror it over, and actually the pivot fooled me for some reason. It says it's on 0, but it's not actually on 0. Come on, Max. Huh. Look at that. I just moved it a little bit and then centered it on 0, and now it's actually on 0. Very interesting. And you could also, if you were going to be rendering this scene here in Max, you could mirror these over as instances, and that would save on memory. So it would basically be only accounting it would only be accounting the polygons for our first set of geometry, and this would just be buffered. Something to keep in mind. Sure, let's put this to world. That might be why we're having issues with centering this pivot. Mirror that guy over, and then we're left with this piece here. Check our pivot again. Seems like bumping it a little bit and then setting it seems to fool Max into allowing us to set the pivot properly. Okay, so we got those pieces over. So I'll take a break here and then we'll come back and fix this piece over here. And that should complete this wrap. Alright, so let's see how we can get this piece to work for us. So let's go ahead and get rid of the turbo smooth quad chamfer and this edit poly. And we'll go back down to this edit poly. And go ahead and isolate this. Come to the back here, and I'm going to grab some of these polygons and remove them. Maybe to about, maybe we keep these. Okay. Delete those. Let's go back into, let's go left view and then rotate all the way to right view. So we're looking at this side now. Go to isolation. Then I'm going to go and throw a FFD on here. So we'll go under our modifier list and let's choose FFD box. And that allows us to set the number of points we want to work with here. So I'm going to zero all these to 2. Let's see. Okay, so that's what we wanted. Our width is the value we wanted to change. So we'll set that to 3. And then we'll grab our control point down here and pull it up like that. And then maybe we also push it in a little bit. And we'll have to tweak these verts, but it will give us kind of a starting point to work from here. I'm just trying to think of how we want to end these different bands to make it so it makes somewhat sense. So maybe we take this band and tuck it here, and this band kind of tucks, or maybe we could even make this band end in here, and then this one just extends over here. That might be easier to do. So let's go ahead and throw an edit poly on top of this. And if we go with that idea of ending this band over here, it might actually also make sense to, let's copy our shell modifier and let's grab this piece here and detach it. And let's go back to this piece over here, paste our shell modifier on it. And then I'm going to edit some of this geometry here. So let's go ahead and delete some of these polygons. Go into wireframe here. Probably also be smart to turn the turbo smooths on here, so it's a less so your viewport doesn't crash on you. But it seems to be okay for right now. Let me just throw a shell modifier on here, see how that's responding. So we're gonna have to tweak this shape a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and just hide this piece for the time being. So we're just looking at this. And let's go ahead and tweak this a little bit. So I'm gonna go into vertex mode here. And let's say show end result. And I'm gonna come up here and select local, which will allow me to not very easily, but it makes it a lot easier to move these points around the way you want them. So we'll start up here, try to get this band to not clip with the other band above it. Something like that. Okay, we'll come down here, and actually maybe we'll isolate this now at this point and try to clean up this curve a little bit better. This guy could come out a little bit. Okay. A little bit of wonkiness there. I'm going to go ahead and turn local off just to pull this up. Maybe bring this down. Okay. Let's go back out of isolation again. And this needs to come in a little bit more to go underneath it. So we'll go ahead and turn back local on and push it in to about there-ish. And we'll just taper this kind of in a little bit. Just moving around. It's a little bit of clipping, but then again, it's not going to be noticeable to the camera. Alright. Let's call that piece good for right now. And actually, before we do that, let's kind of space this out a little bit better. So I'll go into edge mode here and just move it along the edge. And I'll just kind of space these a little better so we get a nice subdivision when we go to smooth this. Alright. We need to unhide that piece, so we'll say unhide. What other stuff do we have hidden? We have a few pieces hidden. I'll just hit unhide all because I'm not sure. It's always a good idea to, yeah, see we had our references hidden. Let's just get this fixed real quick. Let's just hide that. It's always a good idea to name your pieces as you're constructing them. Stay organized. Otherwise, you're in a situation like me right there where I had no clue what I was trying to unhide. Okay, so we need to alter this piece. So let's turn our shell off temporarily. And over here, we have to make it go up. This is definitely not going to look pretty. I'll tell you that. But it will close this end up enough to where we don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to go ahead and let's throw another FFD on here. Let's grab this control point down here and just pull it up like so. And we grab this corner. So the nice thing about FFDs is it allows you to kind of very quickly move a bunch of verts around. Save yourself save a little bit of time. We're still going to have to tweak the shape. So let's just call that good for right now. And I'm going to grab these here. And this needs to kind of do something like that. And we're working out a local mode. Only thing that sucks about local mode, if I try to grab both of these, it doesn't really respond very well. So you always have to work with just one vertex. So I'm thinking I might just pull it back in there a little bit. Let's go up in here like that. Pull these up a little bit. This is going to need to go back. Maybe even close that gap a little bit. Alright. Let's get that kind of rough in its rough place. Start shaping this. See if I can just get lucky and move those. Those ones moved alright. Turn on wireframe here. Let's go ahead and turn shell on here. Start tweaking some of these vertex. So it'll say show end result. Have this come out. We're going to have to fix that one that's behind there. So you can kind of see how working out of perspective is a lot easier than orthographic, because I'm able to kind of pick an angle and move the verts where I need them. That's going to need to come out. Same with that. Not liking the shape we got going on here. And then we have this issue down below here. But we're just going to work with it because this side is not important to us. If you were going to be showing both sides, I would say I'd rethink how this knot kind of works on this side. Probably find some better reference that shows both sides. Okay. Yeah, this spot right here really is what's not really selling the effect. There should be something like another shape right here. Like even maybe like this would kind of loop back inside somehow. It's really odd how that. Let's go ahead and isolate this real quick. Just want to look at this piece. Yeah, it's kind of corkscrewing on itself. Grab this, pull it out a little bit. It's really interesting. I'm not sure why it's doing that. If I pull it, there we go. Sometimes the shell modifier doesn't really like to respond too nicely. Bring that in. And that change might have caused some clipping, but at least we have it kind of out of that corkscrew state. So I'm just going to try to clean this up a little bit. Let's see here, we got these are the I think these are the ones, the faces we hadn't got to in the back because they were hidden from us. Straighten that out a little bit. Alright, let's go ahead and check that again in isolation mode. Let's go ahead and look at this piece. I think we can bring this up so it's not showing down in the camera angle there. Just clean this up a little bit more. Oh, we're in edge mode. Let's make sure we're not in edge mode. All right. So I think that'll work for us. So I'm gonna let's throw our let's go to one of these, and we'll just copy our turbo smoothing and quad chamfer and paste it on these. And actually, it looks like because we created some new geometry, I think our smooth groups got wiped out. So let's go ahead and isolate this. And let's go to shell and create an edit poly here. And let's turn these off temporarily. And same drill, we'll just set this to 180. Deselect these end caps. Auto smooth. Auto smooth that guy. And then we can just turn our modifiers back on, and that should update properly. Okay. Let's take a look at this guy too. Yeah, same problem. So I'll just come here to the top of shell, edit poly. Turn these off temporarily. Set our auto smooth angle to 180. Okay, turn this back on. And there we go. That's not the best result, but I'm wondering if we could. I think I'm gonna call it a video here, but one thing you could do is you can kind of see how it's working on this side. We could probably pull this up here, and that would kind of close this gap that's showing right here, and it would look a lot more finished. So I might do that off camera just to complete this. So again, just pulling, you'd want to kind of tweak this maybe with some FFDs and pull it so it's kind of wrapping below this piece right here, and that would really kind of finish this area off. All right, so there we go. We got the wrap finished. In the next video, we're going to do some unwrapping, a lot of unwrapping. We did actually get some of these pieces unwrapped because we thought ahead and had that done. So that really just leaves the blade. And then we also have to merge in our blade guard too. That really cool design. And that piece is unwrapped too, so that saved us a little bit of time. All right, so I'm going to call the video here.